Hi, folks. My name is Carl Moisen. I'm the current chairman of the Economic Development Commission. I'm the president and CEO of Homefield Credit Union, and I guess this is my third year on the Economic Development Commission, and it's been a labor of love. But things have been, we seem to be getting some traction, and things seem to be going in the right direction. And I welcome everyone to the call. I guess we'll start the meeting. I guess we'll go with introductions. Ray.
Yeah, I'm Ray Mead. I'm new to town. I just moved in last week. No, I'm just kidding. I'm looking forward to being on the committee. I'm the selectman's representative to the committee, and I'm looking to do a lot of stuff in economic development and bringing in revenue for this town.
Gopal.
Yes, Gopal Shenoy. I'm a member of the Finance Committee. So I'm the representative of the Finance Committee here. I'm really looking forward to learning more about this group and also seeing how I can help. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
Let's see. Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura DiDio. I'm a 20-year Grafton resident. I also have my own small business here in town. I am a reporter and I am a high-tech industry analyst and writer. And like everyone else, I would like to, lend whatever talents I have to, spurring development, economic growth for Grafton, which I love this town. I think it's a great town and it has a lot of potential.
Amen to that. Very well put. Sean, you want to give him a quick, you've been on the committee now, I guess, the commission for a couple of years now?
Yeah, probably 2 years to that point. And I guess I would echo everyone else's sentiment, to just bring whatever I can to the table to help foster, foster and build the community and obviously bring businesses and such to town as best we can.
Dennis?
Hello, I'm Dennis Farron. Welcome, Ray, to town. I've been a lifelong resident of Grafton. I am very active socially with the Grafton Lions Club and other organizations in town, and I'm a 911 dispatcher on the weekend. So if you get in trouble, give me a call. I'll be glad to help you out. And I really enjoy this committee. I think the future is here, and Carl's done a wonderful job with us for the past 3 years.
Thanks, Dennis. I'm not sure about that, but we'll go from there. Eric?
Hey, everybody. Eric Swenson. I've been on the committee for, I think, about a year now. And I'm in technology sales in my day job, and I also invest in real estate. And I've served on the finance committee as well with Gopal. So good to see you.
Same here. Now, John, we're going to have you do a formal introduction as well.
Okay, I'm John Allen. I'm having a serious technology problem. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're in 2 boxes, John. No, not anymore. We can't.
I find that Zoom calls, not only technician, but hand signals actually work as well.
Yes.
I'm John Allen. I'm having serious technology problems. I have my personal computer, which is the sound. I have the Grafton computer, which is the video. My personal computer, I don't have the charger. So we need to move fast so the battery doesn't die on us.
I assume everybody's got the agenda. For those who were here during the following meeting, April 20th and March 16th, I need a motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for those 2 meetings.
I think I'm not sure if everybody else can vote on it or not, but I guess, Eric, you were there for those 2 meetings as well, right? So we have 4 votes.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Dennis Parent, aye.
Eric?
Eric Swenson, aye.
Aye. Sean?
Aye.
Carl Moisten, aye. Laura, I'm not sure if you could vote on it because you weren't a member of the commission as such.
Well, if I could, I would vote aye, but.
Thank you.
And Carl, I abstain.
Oh, thanks, Ray. Clutch move. Here we go. I'm going to turn the number 3 over to John. Can you hear me, John?
I can hear you. Hopefully you can hear me. I apologize for that echo. The Massachusetts Biotechnology Council is a state-run agency, quasi, that works with biotechnology companies. We had them out, introduced them again to Grafton. They're very familiar with Grafton. We've been working with them for the past few years. And basically, they love Grafton. They see 124 Westboro Road as a piece of land that's having great potential because of 8 Pine Street, which we'll talk about later in the meeting, and near the Grafton train station and Tufts. They're saying one of the major problems we have as a state is having well-trained employees that can do manufacturing. Any questions?
Any other questions or comments? No. How about a Westboro Road update, John?
We have 33 acres available at Westboro Road. This is the most prime piece of land for development in Grafton for industrial commercial. I would like to do a video so we can hand it off to our real estate agent to have them use as a tool for marketing. In a prior email, I sent you examples of some videos for commercial properties. I'm thinking this will cost around $1,500, and I'd like to get your approval when we talk about the budget issues.
Is that 124 Westboro Road, John?
Yes.
Okay.
John, explain to the new members what would be the purpose of the video other than realtors. It's a marketing piece, I guess.
It's a marketing piece to allow people to see the land. Number one, when we do videos, they say that people are 6 times more likely to watch a video than are to read text. If we do a video, we can put it on Facebook and LinkedIn and all these other places where people can see, not to mention we can hand it off to our relations with Massachusetts Biotechnology, MassEcon, and some of those other agencies where they can have it and share it with potential people.
So John, are we looking to ship this off to one developer to develop the 33 acres? Or are we looking to subdivide it and create smaller parcels?
We're demonstrating flexibility. It all depends.
That's a
what they
political
want.
answer.
What's that?
That's a political answer.
Well, you may call it political.
No, I'm just kidding.
Calling it
I'm just kidding.
the way that we get to maximize the land. We don't know
Yeah.
how big the company is going to be. If they need all 33, that's great.
Yep.
If they need a smaller portion, we're not going to sell them they need 5 acres. We're not going to forego the use of the balance of that.
So right now it's open to do anything,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
John, if I could, just for clarification, who is the actual owner of the property?
The Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
So we're going to be marketing a property that's currently owned by the state of Massachusetts for development and to expand on the tax base here in Grafton. Is that the essence of it?
That's where it stands today. We're in the process of starting discussions to get that land transferred over to the town of Grafton very similar to the way we did it with 8 Pine Street. And although the Commonwealth owns the land, there's a potential we could share in the proceeds from that sale.
Got it.
That Cohen's killing me.
Any other questions with regards to that? Go ahead, Sean.
Since the state owns the land, and as you said, we could possibly share proceeds from it, can they share some of the cost of marketing this land?
They're the ones that are paying the real estate agent.
Okay. So this is not the same as say selling a house, whereas the seller pays the full commission to the real estate agent.
Well, the state is the seller, and they're the ones paying the full commission.
But
What we're doing is we're talking about investing $1,500 to provide an additional asset to help them.
okay, all right.
And there's no such quote unquote, the realtor that brings the potential client to the table is the realtor of record, for lack of a better term. And there's not necessarily a realtor that's marketing for the state of Massachusetts. Is that correct?
No, the realtor is hired by the state of Massachusetts, marketing on their behalf, and the state of Massachusetts is paying for that.
Right. But it's the realtor that brings the client to the table. It doesn't have a listing right now.
No, it does have a listing. The realtor
Okay.
is actually active on it. And unlike residential, commercial real estate agents don't share listings.
Got it. I think I knew
I
that.
have one quick question. John, this has not been developed like Centennial Park was developed. In other words, there's no infrastructure in there at this point, correct? No roads, no sidewalks, no sewer, no water, nothing.
Correct.
Okay, so who would be, let's say we do this video and a company says, yeah, geez, I need a 6-acre lot. What do we do then? Who develops the infrastructure?
The buyer of the property.
Oh, okay, so
With that said, although that land isn't developed, town water, sewer, power, and gas are all close to the property.
well,
So
on
they-
the street, yeah, I understand that,
Exactly.
but someone would have to put in a road or a driveway with sidewalks, and they have to go through the planning board process and things like that, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I have one question. John, I don't know how common this is in commercial real estate. In residential real estate, given the fact that the brokers make so much money in terms of commissions, they typically, given the interest is to sell it ASAP, they tend to put these marketing videos out at their expense, is my understanding. So does that happen in commercial real estate? Have you explored that we don't have to spend the $1,500?
You can make that case, and sometimes that's the case. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to be more aggressive than the real estate agent. We've had this land for sale for a while,
Okay.
and we can sit on our hands and wait for it, or what we can do is make an investment to try to potentially accelerate the pace.
Got it.
So would it be to our advantage to get this transferred from the state to us?
We're in the
Because-
process of doing that.
In the process of doing that, because as Dennis said, you know, the infrastructure portion of this, if somebody wants 6 acres, they're not going to throw in a 700-foot road and put in a cul-de-sac and do all the lots. So that if we can get it transferred to us, then the town could actually do that work if there were people who wanted 6-acre lots or 10-acre lots or whatever it is. It's only 33 acres, so you're only going to be able to use about 20 acres to actually put buildings on. So it would be, I think it'd be to our advantage to see if, petition the state and say, hey, can we take this property over? Which they've done in the past. I think that would be to the benefit of the town.
That's a plan, and we did that with 8 Pine Street, so we do have
Right.
some experience in doing it. I think what's happening is the planning board doesn't have the bandwidth with everything that's going on right now to also accomplish that. That's why it takes time, but we're already having those dialogues.
Any other comments, thoughts? I guess we'll table that request and take it up when we discuss the upcoming budget for the new fiscal year. Does that make sense, John?
Yes.
Okay. Can you give us an update on 8 Pine Street?
8 Pine Street, the property's been transferred and they started clearing the lots. They're clearing the land. There's currently the Old State Hospital onto that. Once the lot's cleared, they'll take down the Old State Hospital, and that's budgeted for 20 weeks. Very long process because there's asbestos in it. Any questions?
I have one question. When you say it's budgeted for 20 weeks, what happens if it goes over? When we have these contracts, do we build into the contract provisions and specifications if there are cost overruns or delays?
We don't own the land. We sold it.
Okay,
And any overruns or cost increases are absorbed by the developer.
okay.
Any other additional thoughts? Everybody understands what's going on over there?
I drove by there the other day. It's amazing how big that property is when now that those trees are down.
Exactly. It's right down the street from me, and it's amazing. They cleared it out. I was like, "Whoa, my God."
Yeah.
So no other questions. We're going to move on to 17 and 27 Upton Street.
Okay, 17 and 27 Upton Street's the old DPW built, and the white barn that's 3 doors down, 2 doors down. We're currently in the process of negotiating a purchase and sales agreement. We hope to have that resolved by the end of the month. There's potential environmental issues on the property. And because the town is the owner of that property, it will be the responsibility of the town to clean that up. To the extent of any potential environmental issues, we've only done some basic testing, but we haven't fully got a true understanding of it. We may have had some false readings because when you test the water, if it's static, it could result in higher lead levels than if it were moving. So we'll see that as things progress.
What happens with the post office in between? I understand they still have another 2 years to go on their lease, but they were saying, I've heard, I don't know if it's true, that they don't intend to renew. Is that the case, or is that just a rumor?
Well, the belief is that the post office is having financial difficulties, and a town the size of Grafton doesn't need 3 post offices. So from the logic of a post office being eliminated, it would be a smart move from their position. Now, that's being held between 2 private parties, so we're not aware of the details as to when that's going to happen or if it's going to happen. And the same thing with the White House. I do know that the developers reached out to both of them.
About, I can give you an update, not an update on that, but about 15 years ago, the post, as John says, we have, 3 post offices in Grafton. They started looking into centralizing the post office in Grafton, just creating one. They originally looked at Country Plaza, or where Stop and Shop is, but they have been scouting out other pieces of property to just create one post office in Grafton and close all of them and just create one. So that's been in the works for about 15 years.
I know that for not some of the cases, I guess it looks like it's a federally owned building, but most of the post offices in the area are owned privately, and thus the leases are private as well. So it's not necessarily a government facility. It's housing the post office, but they're actually a tenant. So
Okay.
and they're owned by private individuals or private companies. It was funny. I was going through a post office lease today, and they're not the easiest thing to unwind as well. They put a lot of different caveats in the leases in order to give them time to move out. The one I was looking at today had a 2-year window that allowed them 2 years to without notice to leave. I was like, first of all, who signed this? And then second of all, why would you do that? But it's done. So you see a lot of different things that way.
Yeah. And Carl, 15 years ago, the discussion started. 15 years from now, the discussion will still be going on.
Exactly. You're absolutely right, Ray. The wheels of time, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
15 years, I'll probably be retired. Or hope to be retired, I guess. Any other thoughts on Upton Street?
I had one.
Sure.
It's a big question. That's going to be a pretty, if we get all contiguous pieces of land, as I understand it, so far, the plans are calling for about how many units in there for apartments? Has anybody done an impact study on the traffic around, Upton Street and more to the point, Grafton Common, because that's becoming like bumper car derby. I feel like it's NASCAR around that thing now. So, any thoughts on that? I mean, feedback and.
Well, the property's designed where it's going to be primarily senior housing, which will have less of an impact on traffic. And that's really the oversight of the planning board to deal with the traffic.
I wasn't, okay, so that helps. I wasn't really aware that the majority of it was going to be senior housing.
So when they came before the Board of Selectmen, when we talked about the PNS and on the sale, I say Board of Selectmen, I'm sorry, Select Board. The original idea was an over 55 housing development. And now they have changed that. And they want to accept anyone. So it's not going to be strictly senior housing.
Okay, so then that could potentially then have a greater impact on the traffic situation.
Yep. And I mean, I have all the confidence in the world that the planning board will, get us a good deal.
Or help facilitate a good flow of traffic, I guess, right?
That sounds a lot better, Carl.
I can give a quick update there as well. I'm on the Affordable Housing Trust, and the trust is considering possibly incentivizing GSX and the PNS by funding some of their upfront fees, which can actually be quite substantial in return for an uptick in affordably priced units. And to answer Laura's other question, I think it's around 170 units, something around there.
The last I heard, it was 151, but I know that oftentimes these things are moving targets as they evolve.
Well, there was some retail mix in there too, as well.
I think what you're going to find is that the environmental issue might drag on for a little bit. Those aren't easily tackled. Hopefully we can get some decent results in the positive versus having it be more of an issue. So that would speed things up if it wasn't. Sean?
If we get into a situation where we'll call it a brownfield situation, are there grants or some form of federal funding that we could maybe look into?
It depends the extent of the issue.
Okay.
Let's really hope, Sean, that there isn't.
I'm sorry?
Let's really hope that there isn't.
Right. Let's hope it's mild as opposed to, mild issues as opposed to, we'll say the mill in South Grafton, for example. Oh, okay. That's all I got.
Any other questions or thoughts on Upton Street? John, we're gonna keep moving right along. We're gonna go to Celebrate Grafton.
Okay, May 21st, 2022, we're thinking about having a program, we're gonna call it Grafton Jamboree, Celebrate Grafton. Name's kind of fluid, but the goal is really to have a community day where businesses could come out and sell their products. We're thinking about having like craft collectors or artists out there blowing glass, woodworking, what have you. We'll also have like pony rides and jump houses and face paintings and things like that for the kids. We'll have antique cars. We'll have some of the car dealers from town will come in and be able to display some of their cars for sale. But it's really an opportunity to truly help businesses while also making Grafton more of a community by bringing people together.
Make sure you get the bread guy there.
Bottom line is it's going to be offered to all types of craftspeople, artisans like that.
I mean, he's just been such a success story during COVID.
Where would you have this, John? Do you know yet?
It's actually going to be throughout the town because given how the space is, we'll have things throughout all the parks. It's going to be North Grafton, South Grafton, center of town. It's going to be quite extensive, Holden Farms. So as things get developed, I'll keep you guys informed.
Well, keep the Lions Club property in mind. We've got a great facility down there.
In fact, we're going to ask the Lions Club, as well as some of the other nonprofits in town, to take on one of the tasks in helping this come to fruition.
Great.
John?
You mentioned, a lot of artisans. The craft fair, for example, in the community center comes to mind. But I was also thinking when you were talking about on the street, something like what they have in Worcester, where they do start on the street and they close down a section of Park Ave. I understand a lot of our places, such as you mentioned, Holden Farms is separate from the Lions property and separate from the center of the town, things of that nature. If there was a way for us to mimic start on the street, at least to get a bunch of crafters in one area and do what they do, find a street that we can kind of like block off and, make it that festival atmosphere, so to speak.
That's on the table. It's going to be a pretty big project. It's going to start off Friday night with movies in the Common and in South Grafton, and it's going to conclude Saturday night with fireworks. So there's going to be a lot going on, and all the stuff has to come together. So as things happen, I'll keep you informed. Probably ask for your help too.
So at this time, who's working with you trying to just, if nothing else, get all the ideas in one basket?
Right now, we're just working internally, the town administrator, the police chief, the fire department, recreation department, are pretty much, and myself right now, pretty much it. But we'll be reaching out as things get developed. Gopal, I feel like I'm interrupting you.
No, not at all. No, one idea that I had, since you mentioned multiple locations, is you may want to think, if you have not already thought about it, is some kind of a scavenger hunt, such that, because Holden Farm doesn't want to lose out just because they are way out there, right? If you want to kind of get the traffic moving.
Right, but they're going to have designated activities that's going to attract people, whether it's whatever it is, it's going to be something that's going to attract people.
Okay.
Sort of like Grafton celebrates the holidays, that's a similar concept.
It's a similar concept, but a few variances.
In good weather, hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah. Another spot is the community barn on, is it Wheeler Road, Brigham Road?
Wheeler.
That's a great spot also.
We're going to be using the whole town because part of it will be where we may have a bands or DJs. there's gonna be a lot of activities, so we'll be using the whole town. And hopefully that'll get people that from North Grafton go South Grafton, people from South Grafton go North Grafton, and really get people all over the place.
But as you stated, John, sounds like it's a cooperative effort between a number of different parties at the town administrative building. So
Yes.
it just doesn't fall on your shoulders. It sounds like it's a joint effort, which is great.
Right.
Any other thoughts, questions? If we could, as Laura said, if we can mimic Grafton Celebrates the Holidays, I know that gets a lot of traction and very popular. So I think it's something in the good weather or in the spring would be tremendous, absolutely tremendous. So I like the idea a lot. Business community representation for hazard mitigation plan.
Yep. We're in the process of updating our hazardous mitigation plan, and they would like somebody from the EDC to be on the committee. So I was hoping somebody would volunteer, maybe one of the newer members. Thank you, Laura.
I'm on the GEMA, the Grafton Emergency Management Committee as well. So
Oh, aligns nicely.
yeah,
Ray, you had a point?
No, but if I wear a hat, nobody can see it.
Well, thank you, Laura. Thanks for stepping up. That's great. And I'm sure we'll hear back on the efforts going on there. Let's see. Establish priorities and allocate funds. Shop Grafton MA, restaurant gift certificate program, Westboro property video, chamber events, educational seminars. So John, kind of give us the folks that are new to the group an overall overview of last year's budget and how much we have for this year, et cetera.
All right. Last year, what we did was we spent probably about $2,500 on Shop Grafton, which is our program that we use to say shop locally. And basically it's a takeoff of Shop Small Business Saturday, but in Grafton, our view is one day isn't sufficient. So we encourage it from the day after Thanksgiving through Christmas Eve. Last year was our unusual time because of COVID. So what we did was we took funds that weren't allocated and we purchased $10 gift certificates, and it was 30 gift certificates from each restaurant in town, and then distributed them to the different retailers in town. So as they had customers come in, they would say, here's a gift certificate to a restaurant. And the gift certificates were in envelopes so nobody could see what they were. So it's kind of a surprise. And the retailers liked it because nobody was expecting it. And it was a nice way to reward some of those people that are spending more money in the retail stores. And the restaurants appreciated it, especially at the time, because they were having financial problems or challenges, not problems, challenges. And this was a way to get people into the restaurants. Either they were going to go there anyways and they may spend a little bit more money because they had that $10, or it may encourage people to go that didn't have plans.
What was the overall, how do you think it came off, John? What was the feedback that we got?
The feedback was excellent. The retailers loved it as well as the restaurants loved it. So that actually had probably stronger feedback than Shop Grafton from the retailer standpoint. As a result of the way things were done, it wasn't as if I talked to any of the people who received the gift certificates to ask them what they thought of it. I just heard from the stores and the businesses. We talked
John, if I could, what was last year's budget so that the folks get to understand where we're coming from and where we're starting from?
Last year's budget was 12,500 and we're level funded at 12,500. So we don't have an abundance of money.
Hey, John, on Shop Grafton, Massachusetts, what was it again? Shop Grafton MA?
2,500.
And that is that is separate from the restaurant.
Yes, exactly.
So what was Shop Grafton MA?
That's a shop local program that we do between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Okay. And how does that program run? Is there anything in terms of gift certificates or anything, or just promotion?
Basically, we set it up where people go to the different retailers, they get a card and they get their card stamped. So if they have, I think it was 10 retailers, 10 different retailers stamp their card, then they're entered into a raffle to win a gift certificate. And last year we did 10 winners of $100 gift certificates to the Grafton business of their choice. So we did $1,000 in prizes. And then between the different material, the brochures and things like that was about $1,500. So that's how we get to 2,500.
Yeah. One thought I had, because you said that was, you got less feedback on that and more positive feedback on the restaurant's gift certificate program. Is there a opportunity to not only have restaurants give out gift certificates, but the other businesses also could get gift certificates, and then run the same program as opposed to restaurant gift certificate program? It's a general gift certificate program, but all gift certificates are from local businesses.
Well, the gift certificates were to the restaurants. So if I purchased $10 gift certificate from Reunions and I hand it to Grafton on the Common, then Grafton on the Common was giving it out and they both received benefits. The restaurants weren't given gift certificates to hand out because.
No, I understand. But what I'm saying is, if Grafton on the Common has gift certificates, not only just to restaurants, but to other businesses like the art and craft store or whatever else, that might be something to think. It should be expanded to be beyond restaurants.
Well, that's fine. It's up to you. It's based on the amount of money you as a committee allocate. And as well as how you design the program.
Yeah, if I could, John, I'll expand on that a little bit. Because of COVID and because of the challenges that the local restaurants were having, that's how we decided to go with the restaurant gift certificate versus buying, say $1,200 worth of gift certificates and from all over. It was just COVID was a terrible scenario, and we thought it would be more beneficial and more targeted to help the local restaurants versus the general businesses. Not that they weren't hurting just as much, but the restaurants seemed to be hurting a little bit more than most. I think if you look back to the prior year, I think overall it was a pretty good, successful event. And I think it got some traction. I think COVID did have an impact on the overall success of it on a broad basis, but I do think the restaurants benefited from it as well.
And just kind of for your information, is when you talk to most retailers in town, most of them will tell you, as bad as COVID was, most of them had higher sales in 2021 than they did in the prior years. One business has been around for over 20 years, and they said 2021 was their best year ever just because of the support of the town, and they're very grateful for that.
That's great.
Just one more comment, since I'm kind of close to the restaurant industry in general. That industry is transforming itself completely. The restaurants that have survived is going in from less dine-in to more online ordering and takeout. And that is a thing that consumers are going to continue to do. So the restaurants actually has started doing really well. The ones that transformed. Just a comment, not to.
No, I totally agree with you. Absolutely.
Yeah, couple of things. What you said is absolutely true. And the thing is, there's different types of categories of restaurants. So I take the pizza places and the Chinese restaurants. They're known for their takeouts. They receive less impact than, say, a restaurant that relied disproportionately on the drinks. Because when in the restaurant business, the items with the largest margin are drinks, whether it's alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks. So if they were relying on all those drinks, they felt a much stronger impact than somebody who wasn't on that. So it was, depends on what type of restaurant they're doing and how wide it is.
That's true. I saw a shift last week. I was at the post office pub and they closed earlier. They said because by the time we noticed that when we got to a certain hour, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, the people who were left were the ones who just wanted to sit here and drink to excess. And we didn't necessarily want that. So they, closed an hour earlier. On the other hand, due to an unfortunate circumstance of geography, we had somebody like Pepperoni Express, which has been so good to the town. They literally had to move out of their quarters because they got flooded, and they're at Lakeview. They bought Lakeview House of Pizza, which is smaller, but to your point, they're not going to have as much dine-in traffic as they will takeout now.
And there was additional motivation too. Obviously it's smaller space, so they probably are paying a whole lot less money in rent. So that improves their bottom line. So there's some strategic benefits there too.
Yes, absolutely.
One of the things that we need to look at next year for these restaurants, because as you said, a lot of the restaurants are doing very well, and they're doing very well because they have outdoor seating, and they all want to keep their outdoor seating. And I know that the outdoor seating goes until April of next year, and that the planning board is looking at having all of these restaurants refile site plans and everything to regulate the outdoor seating. And I think this committee should be, forward in helping these businesses and talking and Gopal, I know you're on the planning board, talking to the planning board about allowing, the outdoor dining to continue, because it continue as it is, because it's great for those businesses and it's great for Grafton. It really is.
The EDC committee in a prior meeting had already encouraged and suggested that the planning department look at making zoning changes so it becomes a one-time thing. And the planning department is following the EDC's suggestion. So it's already in process. It just needs town approval because it's zoning involved.
That's great. I understand new restaurants coming in will have to, provide all of the documentation and plans and everything to do that. But the existing ones, I go to Grafton Grill a lot. I go to Highfields. I go to Grafton Inn. Grafton Grill on a Wednesday night, and even the pub on a Wednesday night, where it was 2 years ago, it was very, very slow. And now it's so busy, and it's great for these businesses.
Yeah,
really is.
and look at Cancun's and
Yes,
Reunion.
Cancun's. Yes. Yeah. It's great for these businesses.
John, would it help if, we did, I guess, endorse, for lack of a better term, that thought process? Would it be advantageous for us to follow it up in writing, or?
We've already done that.
Oh, that's what I thought. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
I know it's been a while since we've had a meeting.
Yeah, no, I know.
Plus COVID, which just throws things off and people lose the true sense of time.
Right. Anything else on the, do we want a motion to approve the budget, John, or what would you like to do?
I just want your ideas of where I should be placing the emphasis money-wise. It's, are we going to do the video? Do we want to do shop grafting again this year? In the past, one of the things that we've done is I've attended some of the trade shows and basically joined up with the state to let them know that Grafton's looking for business. So the question is, we only have 12,500. So if I need your top 3 priorities, so that way the budget's being allocated as you desire. If I read the room right, I'm sensing that we want to do Shop Grafton again this year for 2,500.
That would be my vote.
Yes, I would agree.
Yep.
Okay. Did we want to do the Westboro video?
Now, what's the Westboro video?
124 Westboro Road, we're talking about a video that we could
Oh.
be used to advertise the property and hand it off to different people to try and encourage development.
Is there an independent company, John, that's doing that, or would that be something that maybe Bob DeTomer and his crew could do as well?
I could look to see if Bob can do it. I don't know if he has the little plane that flies over things.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
two,
yeah.
there's actually two drones in town, so that are owned by the town. So if they do need it,
All right.
we can use that.
So why don't we look at seeing if Grafton TV can do it? I know Grafton TV is online. You could chime in if you know it.
It's worth a shot. I mean, if it only costs us $750, it's a bargain.
Okay, let's do that. Do we want to do the restaurant gift certificate program again? Let me see. That was expensive. That was close to $6,000, $7,000.
Yeah, that was expensive. I thought that was going to be a one-time deal to try to get the restaurants back on their feet.
Okay, that's perfectly fine.
On that, the gift certificate piece, I think that's something we could possibly look at closer to the deadline of, say, Shop Grafton, because if we're giving these gift certificates to businesses as a surprise, so to speak, to their customers, I think that's something we can do on short notice if we get to that. Oh, not if, but when we get to that point, and say, for example, we just saved $600 by having Grafton Cable TV do this video for us. You know, if we realize we do have some savings, you know, we don't have to spend that much money on gift cards. A smaller number of gift cards, I think might, again, on a short notice, do that.
We can table it just from a business seasonal pattern standpoint. I think if we were to do it, it should be done like in the January, February range, because that's when businesses and restaurants are slowest, is right after the holidays. If we were to wait till April or whatever, at that point, I don't think it would be beneficial or a good use of the town's money. So that's fine.
John, just want to make a comment. I don't know if all of those seasonal trends are going to hold anymore in terms of restaurants being slow in January and February, especially with online ordering just being the trend. People are going to keep ordering from restaurants. So my suggestion would be, are there other categories of businesses other than restaurants that we can help with these gift certificates?
Well, to your point, I feel like we're helping the businesses with this card that they punch after every. The incentive for people to go to the businesses is in the Shop Grafton, where they're given this card, and after 10 visits, they drop it in the raffle box, lack of a better word. So we're helping the businesses get customers in that way. I don't know that all the restaurants are in that same category. Are they, if they're having, punch cards, or is it just the retail shops? So, like I said, to your point, I feel like we're helping the retailers, but with the gift card, we're helping the restaurants.
Well, the restaurants do participate in Shop Grafton during that season. So the restaurants are receiving indirect benefits, and people, when they get the $100 gift certificates, can select one of the restaurants as one of the places that they get the prize to. So they're receiving the same benefits as the other retailers, It's just we're talking about giving them additional assistance. And it
Right.
sounds like we need to table that. It doesn't sound like there's a consensus to do so. The other thing that we've done in the past that I didn't mention is we've also done training events to help entrepreneurs and to help businesses to grow. The question to you guys is, do you want to do that again this coming year? And then the other thing is we also want to be in a position where when Pine Street comes up and 17 and 27 Upton Street come up, that we have the ability to select or at least influence the type of tenants that rent those spaces.
That's an intriguing idea. I actually like that thought, the entrepreneur training.
John, we had a pretty decent attendance, right? A couple of the SBA, how to work with the SBA was a pretty good one.
The SBA Finance and Home Field Credit Union was a big part of that. We've also done social media and digital marketing, and we've had pretty good success with that. Whether we should change them up and maybe do something different or repeat, whatever it is, just let me know.
What does that usually cost, John?
The typical seminar is probably about $300. The digital and marketing one costs a little bit more, but that's much more comprehensive than some of the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would definitely support that. It's not a lot of money. And just a thought on the restaurant gift cards, if we're not like at consensus right now, if I recall, basically we allocated unused funds towards the end of our budget cycle last year.
Right.
So we don't have to earmark it necessarily for that, but something that could happen in the Northeast is, once it gets cold, the COVID numbers might go up. People that were dining exclusively outside may just stop dining, and then the restaurants are going to be hurting a little bit again. So, the good thing is John's close with, all the big restaurants in town. So if he's kind of hearing stuff like, hey, we're seeing a downtick in our visits or whatever, he'll let us know and then we can act. Because like John said, the restaurants loved it.
Yeah, and there's nothing that says we have to allocate $6,500 again. I mean, it could be scaled back and tailored, as Eric noted, to see, well, what's left in the budget and what are the demands. So
Makes sense. I think, Gopal, did you mention the scavenger hunt scenario on the Grafton Celebrate Grafton? That's kind of the ticket that they're getting punched is the similar type of scenario. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody was clear on that. Any other thoughts?
I'll throw this open general question where we have 3 new members. Do you have a specific area of focus that you'd like to see?
Well, I mean, I'd like to see any type of economic development. Supporting our local businesses is great. I think that helps the people in town, it helps the businesses, and it gets them, it gets them more business. I like to look at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is Pine Street and Westboro Road and Fisherville Mill and South Grafton, areas that we can attract larger companies with more jobs, with more tax revenue. The Wyman Gordon's, the Wyman Gordon's project that's moving forward, that's going to be a great thing. So that's been my focus. And John, you and I have met, and I had expressed that, and but that's what I'd like to focus on.
yeah, I mean, I'd like to see new businesses also. And we're close to a big high-tech corridor that used to be up in Littleton, with Digital Equipment Corp. And a lot of those companies, and also Route 9 and Westboro for a long time had big companies. Now, many of them with the hybrid work environment don't need big, huge office space. But if there's a way that we can, tap into that and maybe get them for, Pine Street, that would be that. There's a lot of money there, especially with startups in software and things like AI, where they don't have to be big, but in terms of size and office space, but where they could bring a lot into the community in many ways.
Go, Paul.
Did you have something, John, you thought?
No, I
Okay,
did not. I did not.
okay,
Okay.
no problem.
Well, let me pick up on what you guys, or what Ray and Laura just said. Currently, the land in front of Wyman Gordon's is for sale. We think a developer is going to buy it and basically use that for distribution. It's between two private parties, and nobody's come before the planning board to give us an before the development team to give us an update. So, but we have heard things are happening with that. As far as the development of the types that Laura's talking to, one of the challenges we have in Grafton is that we have land, but we don't have buildings already up and built where businesses simply need to move in. So that means when we talk about attracting larger businesses, they have to have the financial wherewithal to be able to build a building. Other things that are coming up as I'm sitting here talking to you is MJ's Market is anticipating opening this month. Last time we talked to them, they were planning a soft opening for September 24th and grand opening on October 1st. So the town receives 3% of the revenue as part of their host community agreement. So that will start generating money to the town. The only thing that could change that is if the CCC doesn't approve it in the September meeting, and they need to go to the October meeting. But everybody's anticipating that to open the 24th of this month. Anything else? We do have major projects going on between Pine Street, 1727 Upton Street. We have talked to a few people about developing 124 Westboro Road. It's not to the point where it's anything worthy of talking about. It's so like people doing a
Tire kickers.
open house.
Tire.
They go to like an open house, they take a look at it, and you may never see them again. So I don't want to get into any of the details like that. But we have been talking to people and trying to attract businesses.
John, is there anything going on at the Fisherville Mill site? I mean, that's, we spent a lot of money there. At
Yes,
least the
we have.
government did. It's ready for development as far as I know. And they're improving the road now. They're doing that whole 122-way improvement program. I would think that would be a pretty attractive site for someone.
There's discussions about having housing on that land. They're very early and preliminary, but people are looking to develop that for some housing.
Okay.
John, do we want to go to any other matters that may legally come before us?
Sure.
Any other? Yeah, I think Ray, you hit it on the head. We're always trying to. We're trying to balance small business with attracting large business and industry, and it never seems to happen as fast as you want it to. But I think it's important that we show that we are supporting the businesses that are here, and thus go out and try to find the I call it the big fish, and see if we can get them into a property that generates tax revenue for the town. So,
Yeah, absolutely, Carl. And I have two things that I just wanted to talk about.
Sure.
The select board talked about a month ago about creating a Chamber of Commerce, the Grafton Chamber of Commerce. And we discussed it at a workshop. And I told them that I would bring it before this committee to talk about it, get your thoughts, think about it. We can talk about it at the next meeting, actually put it on the agenda and get your thoughts on creating a Chamber of Commerce in Grafton. I know that, there are Chamber of Commerces all over the place and a lot of towns, multiple towns go together on Chamber of Commerce. So I think that's something the board wants to look at. And, this committee would be directly involved in that. So I just wanted to bring that up and, maybe put it on the next agenda to discuss it further.
Fair enough. I think
Okay,
that
so
it's
so,
an interesting idea. I'm not sure.
it is.
We have Blackstone Chamber of Commerce. We have Corridor 9. I think
And Worcester. So we have three
And-
chambers.
Oh, yeah,
Pretty
no,
quick,
it's not an easy, and that's what we discussed at our meeting, is that it's not an easy situation. And it may not be a Chamber of Commerce, it may be something else, but they wanted me to bring this up to this committee, and I think that's, it's worth it to discuss it.
I totally agree.
One other thing that I brought up last week at a select board meeting was that I want to put on, and the board hasn't voted on this yet, but I want to put on the fall town meeting to rescind the tax incentive for UPS. Now, everybody knows that UPS, it purchased the acreage over there off of Centennial Park and has that. But with a communication from their attorney, they have no immediate plans to do anything. So based on what we just went through with Nature's Remedy and, some of the other marijuana facilities, we had HCA's hanging out there for 4 or 5 years. Nobody did anything. The town hasn't received a dime. We're going to get something, when MJ's opened up, and that's going to be great. Jushi is going to take over the Nature's Remedy property and hopefully within 12 months start construction on that. I don't like to see deals that the town made hung out there for years and years, to just let it sit there. So rescinding it is not a big deal. You go to town meeting, you rescind it. When you go back to when UPS decides that they want to do something, then we just renegotiate a new tax incentive. So I wanted to bring that up to the committee, that I brought that up to the board, and I would like to see it on the town meeting in October.
Has the having been a member of the TIF committee, has the TIF committee discussed that?
No, not yet. And I'm a member of the TIF committee now, Carl, and no, it has, again, I brought it up to the board.
Sure.
It has not gone to the TIF committee. I wanted it to come to this committee, and then I'll bring it to the TIF committee. But again, the tax incentive that was negotiated was very advantageous to UPS. And not that we wouldn't do it again, because we probably would, but I just think that, you don't leave them out there forever.
Who is actually, do we know the official members of the TIF committee right now?
There's a list, and I'm not sure who's on it. I know that I'm the selectman's representative to the
Got
TIF
it.
committee.
Okay.
So,
What I'd like to do is share with you from my perspective. I'm out there, I'm trying to attract businesses to town. And a lot of times people don't catch nuance. And I'm sensitive that you want to withdraw this TIF because they're not moving forward. And I understand the town's frustration. I'm frustrated as well. The problem I see is that this could be twisted where the town is unfriendly. The town took away a TIF. And the fact is, even if you withdraw this TIF from UPS. UPS is a Fortune 500 company. It's not going to motivate them or dissuade them either way. They're going to do what they're going to do. And I wouldn't want the town to potentially develop a reputation as being business unfriendly because we gave a tip, then we took it away. What I think is a better approach is to really look to see if there's something we can do to either get them to move forward or to sell it to another third party. Now, if we look at the distribution channels, they've shifted quite dramatically since UPS bought that land. If you think about it, at the time, the read was they were getting the land because they needed more room for distribution because Amazon was going to generate so much business for them. Amazon shifted their business model where they're doing their own deliveries and they're not going through the UPS and the US Postal Services like they were before. So from a UPS standpoint, you're saying, move forward, build this property when they have no incentive. And you're risking the town's reputation over it.
Well, I don't think I'm saying that, John. What I'm saying is that the tax incentive was given to them,
Right?
negotiated by the town, which is a benefit to UPS,
Right.
and they're not utilizing that tax incentive. So if, just like Nature's Remedy, if you are not going to utilize the tax incentive, then we will rescind it and then we will renegotiate when you go to, it's not a thing where I'm not going to tell UPS, oh, by the way, we're going to take away your tax incentive, unless you put a shovel in the ground next week. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's just that we've got this tax incentive hanging out there, and it just we'll renegotiate it when and if they build something or they sell it.
Well,
So
you've made two assumptions. One is that they're going to either build something or sell it. If you annoy UPS, there's a possibility where they just simply hold on to it and don't do anything with the land.
right, but the tax
and-
incentive has absolutely nothing to do with that.
And the thing is, you're pulling the tax incentive away. They haven't built anything. They're not benefiting from it.
Right.
It's just that it's almost like the town take a temper tantrum.
No,
Is that-
it's not a temper tantrum, and I do this because I've done work and development work all over the place, and in my development experience, we have had TIFs rescinded because the project didn't go forward, and the town always said, we're going to rescind it and we'll renegotiate it when you do the project. That's not insulting UPS. It's not doing anything. It's just saying that we're not going to have this thing hanging out there, to go on forever, just like the HCA's with Nature's Remedy that went on for 5 years and nothing happened. And now it's possible nothing's going to happen for at least another year. So it's to the benefit of the town of Grafton, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to, I don't want to argue with you. This is my opinion. The board has not taken a vote on this, and they may say, you know what, we're not going to put it on the agenda.
I just
But
have
I'm going to give it a
question.
shot.
Ray, is a TIF transferable to another buyer?
It is not transferable, but it is a carrot, Dennis, when you go to sell the piece of property. So
Yeah,
in other words, somebody says, hey, you know what? I got this TIF. We're going to get free, zero taxes for the first year after we're 100% completely open. And then it's going to go on for another 15 years, and you can probably negotiate the same deal.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
There has
It's
to
not-
be
it's-
it would have to be renegotiated if the
Correct.
land was sold again. Yeah.
Yes, it would.
All right.
Yep.
Hey, Ray, pardon my ignorance. So what was the deal that we have with the UPS that when they bought this property, because I'm reading that in 2018, they said $200 million facility, maybe 1,500 jobs and so on, and they were seeking a tax deal. So if we rescind this, what's the benefit for the town? Are they not paying taxes right now, or?
Well, no, they're paying taxes on the land.
Okay,
That's it. That's
so if
it.
we
So-
rescind this, what does it buy us?
So the TIF only goes into play when they build the building, they want 100% complete. And then it starts a 15-year process of reduced taxes. The first year, zero taxes. And again, I'm not saying that the town would not renegotiate that. I just don't believe that it's in the town's best interest to keep that thing out there and just rescind it, and we'll renegotiate it when you do something.
So if you rescind it, it's not that the town will see additional revenue, so.
No, not at all.
I think to your point, Ray, I mean, you brought it to the select board, and they have to go through the process of thinking about what they think about it. And I think as a group, I'm glad you put it out there, and we can actually contemplate the good, the bad of that type of thing, and we'll go from there. I don't think. I think-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if it gets onto town meeting, I will argue at a town meeting, and you know what? I have lost before.
No, I get it. Sean, do you have a question?
From what I know about some TIFs, there's the conditions, we'll say, just generically put it out there, that the conditions of the TIF are, as Ray said, that for them, it was going to be a reduced tax for 15 years on this building, whereas some other businesses would negotiate, okay, when you build the building or you open your business, you bring in X number of, say, local people. With TIF, I guess what I'm trying to say is, with a TIF, there's so many different ways you can put, or so many different conditions you can put into it. And to Ray's point, yes, I agree with you I agree with you to a degree, but also, to John's point too, whereas that whole distribution, business is changing. So if they don't build a building, they own the land, they never build a building, and all they use it as a flat storage for tractor trailers, then we get nothing. So, but if they do build a building and they do start hiring people, well, okay, that's a whole nother scenario. So maybe by drawing back or scaling back the TIF, however we do that, we do kind of put them in a position, or at least get them to say something. Well, okay, yeah, the whole picture's changing. Instead of this, instead of a big building, we're going to do this type of building. So I agree with both of you guys, but I think we just need to get a little more information and maybe think about it a little bit more.
And I think that's all Ray was doing, is trying to put it out there and for a thought process.
Yeah.
That's all. That's really all it was.
Yeah. I think it will probably make sense, John, if you could do us a favor and see if you can come up with the background or that particular information on the TIP itself. And then actually, if I could try to find out, Ray, who's actually on the TIP committee. I actually think I'm still on it. But I don't know for sure, because we hadn't had a need for a TIF since Shrewsbury or since UPS.
Right.
The TIF committee only meets if there's a request for a TIF.
Correct, right.
Just stare at each other.
Yeah, there's not much of an agenda there. I will say this, that the UPS property is also partially on Shrewsbury, and I know they had to negotiate with Shrewsbury as well. So there was a lot of moving parts to that negotiation. I think, if I can recall, that the TIF was layered or stepped versus a straight line scenario. So if we could find that information out and give it on to the committee here, that would probably, or the commission, that would be a great idea. Have you read it, Ray?
Yes, I have. Yep.
Oh, so you have a copy of it?
I do.
It was tiered, right?
It was. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
My memory's not that bad. Any other business that a committee member or a commission member would like to bring forward? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
To
So
adjourn.
moved.
I'll move. All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.